back to Biotech. Then here, today we are going to see the 8th class biology first lesson, what is science. So welcome back to the students, those who are appeared 7th class into 8th class. In the 8th class we shall study biology and physics, two different subjects. Okay, so, earlier you might have studied about the 6th class in 7th class science, but here the science textbook is divided into two. One is biology and physics. So already we know that biology means, bio means life, logos means the study of or science of. So the biology, it means the study of life or the science of life. So this biology, the word first time it is introduced by or used by Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, and the father of biology is Aristotle. So especially in the biology we shall study about the different types of living organisms and their mode of life, about the plants, animals, human beings and ecosystem, habitat. So these are the different types of topics we shall study in the biology. Then here we are going to study, the first lesson is what is science. Okay, here we shall study about the first lesson is what is science. So just now in the 7th class we completed about the science. Science means, here science is the one of the key subject which can lead our life. Not only our life, the total society and the world is based on the science. So that science is very most important part in our everyday life. Without science we cannot imagine ourselves. Okay, let us go into the topic, what is science. See, science, it is one of the subject. Science means, the science, that word science is came from a Latin word which means scientia. The science word came from a Latin word which is called scientia. Scientia means knowledge. Here, scientia, it is a Latin word which means knowledge. So it's nothing but, science is nothing but it's knowledge. So the total life is depends on our knowledge, or the world is depending upon the knowledge. And one more thing, what is science? If we define, science is nothing but it is thinking in a different way. Science is nothing but it's a way of thinking in the different way, so that we can find out so many things into the world. Because of that reason, the early man was founded the fire when he was hunting the animals in the forest. Generally, early man, when he was wandering in the forest, he used to eat the raw flesh and he hunt the animals and he lived in the caves of the trees. But when one day when he was running after the animals, when he thrown the stone to hunt the animals, but that stone is slipped and struck with another. So unexpectedly this thing has happened. But when he throw the stone to hunt the animals, but that stone is slipped and struck with another, what happens? There was a fire is produced. So he had seen that fire and he was started thinking, so can I do anything with this fire? So on that next day he was changed his mind. He did not eat the raw flesh, but he burned the flesh and he ate, so that he felt very tasty when it is burnt on the fire. The meat, when it is burnt on the fire, he felt very tasty. So the way of thinking is changed. He was in a different thinking in the mind, so that the tastiness he found in eating the food. Like that, the thinking was started, so that the science was started. I think so that this science was started at the age of the early man to till today. So the science has been traveling from the rock age to rocket age. So the early man age is rock age. Why? Because we are calling the rock age, because the early man was hunting the animals with sharp edged rocks, and his everyday action is hunt the animals and eat the raw flesh. So his life is completely depends on the rocks. So that was a rock age, but now we are going into the space with the rockets. So we are living in the rocket age. So this rock age to rocket age, how these changes have been taken place in the world because of the science or because of the knowledge. Nowadays we can think so that our total world is in our hands. Suppose if you think about the mobile, so the total world is in our hand. Whatever you want, just you can search, that thing can be revealed. The mobile phones or computers or robotics or any, our human life made very easy with our knowledge, or it's nothing but our science. So science that made our life very easy. So many inventions were invented into the world. In the olden days, if you want to travel from one place to another, the people has to go on their foot, or but nowadays the cycle has come, but we are not satisfied. Then after scooter, then after bus, then after train, then after aeroplane, now fly, what a space shuttle. So like this, so many inventions were invented into the world to to our life become easy. So science is nothing but science is thinking of in a different way. Thinking in a different way, it is called science. Okay, let us see here some definitions regarding the science. If we think so about the definitions regarding the science, see, the first definition regarding the science is an organized study of knowledge. We can see here the first definition is science is an organized study of knowledge. What is the meaning of organized? Which in a proper way. The thinking of the science is in a particular way. Okay, organized study, that means in a particular manner. If we think about and we can find out anything. Suppose if you have a problem, regarding the problem, if we can think so in a particular way, so that easily we can find out the answer. That is about the science is an organized study of knowledge. And science is one of the tool for searching the truths in nature. So it is a tool. Science is a tool. Suppose if you want to lose the screw, we can use the tester or screwdriver. So like that, so that we can find out inside the what happened when we remove the screw, so that we can find out what is happened inside. So it is used with the screwdriver, or we have done that action with the screwdriver. Whereas if you want to find out anything in the nature, here science is a one of the tool to search the nature. That means how this nature is green in color, why sun is arising in the sun, okay, how this day and night is going on. So if you want to find out this all the things, here we can do with the, we can find out with the science. And science is the way of exploring the world. So how this world is going on, that everything can be explained through the science. So this is all about what science definitions. Here we can see the definitions of the science. First one, science is a one of the organized study of knowledge. An organized study of knowledge. Organized means in a particular way, the thinking or researching in a particular way, it is an organized study. Next, it is a tool for searching the truth. Truth means the truth never be changed. Generally truths cannot be changed. So here the truths, here we are going to find out the truths in the science. And next, the way of exploring the world. Science is the way of exploring the world. How this world is totally going on, that we can find out through the science. So there are some definitions regarding the science. So science means these are the definitions. And also here there are some most important things is questioning. Especially if you want to find out anything in the science, first we should ask a question ourselves, or we should frame a question. If there is no question, there is no answer. So in scientific method, if you want to find out anything, first how it is, why it is, where it is. So like this, questioning is important. If there is no question, there is no answer. Whereas in the science, the questioning is very, very important. the primary key or the fundamental key in the science is also questioning. So we should underline with red letters. Science, in science, the primary thing is questioning. Then only we can find out the answer. So this is what about the primary thing in the science. And one more thing is here, questioning is, suppose if you want to see what are the questions, suppose why the leaves are green in color, because of the chlorophyll. Yeah, we have found answer already. The person who studied about the plants first, why these leaves are green in color, there was a question, so that he found the answer. So why ants are finding the sugar box wherever it is kept, so that because of some biochemical reactions. So if there is a question, there might be the answer, we can find out through the science. So that questioning is very important in the science to find out the answer. For every solution, if there is no question, there is no answer. So the primary key in the science is questioning. And one more thing, in the science, here we can see some scientists. Here also we can see some scientists. What different types of scientists? Some scientists can understand the nature by observing. Some scientists, they do their experiment with experimental process. That's why we discussed that science is one of the important thing. What a science is science is the organized study of knowledge which is based on experimentation. Science definition, first one is, science is an organized study of knowledge which is based on experimentation. So that some scientists, they can do research by experiment, some scientists, they can do research by observing. So that some are observational scientists, some are experimental scientists. Suppose example, if we can see the ecologist, an ecologist can observe the different animals behavior and their habitat, like fishes live in the water, whereas tiger wandering in the forest, whereas a camel is the sheep of the desert. So like this, an ecologist can observe the different animals behavior and their habitat. So this is the observational scientist. Whereas a geologist can find out the fossils in the soil or minerals in the soil, so by observing. Next, astrophysicist, an astrophysicist can observe the star, moon, galaxies, etc. So like this, some scientists can observe the nature, some scientists can observe the space, some scientists can observe on animals. Next, whereas here we can also see some scientists can do the research with experiment. Suppose a chemist can do the lab activity, or say in the lab with different temperatures. Suppose one chemical reaction is fast in one temperature, one chemical reaction is slow in one temperature. So like that, as the temperature increases, sometimes the activity might be fast. If the temperature less, the activity might be slow. So like this, the rate of reaction increases due to some variables. So like that, a chemist can show the experiments by doing the activity. So this is experimental scientist. So observation, there are some observational scientists, there are some experimental scientists in the science. So here science means, science is one of the Latin word which came from the scientia, which means knowledge. So the total knowledge is because of the science, the total world is running because of the science. And one more most important definition I want to give is, science is the process and science is the product. So after observing this all, scientists, when they do research, okay, we can find out the so many things. So science is a process. The process is continuous. Science never ends. Suppose example, the early man was thinking why this fire was produced. When he was thought why this fire was produced, what can I do with this fire? So the science knowledge has started. The process of thinking is started. That thinking is continuous till today onwards. In this process of thinking, human beings were invented so many inventions into the world. That's why our life become very easy. So that we can say, from the rock age to rocket age, the science is in continuous process. So that science is a process, whereas science is a product. We can see the tube light, whereas vehicles, so medicines, hybrid varieties. These are all the different types of products have been invented into the world because of the science process. If there is no process, no product. That's why science is a process, whereas science is a product. And science is a way of thinking in the different way. And in the science, the primary key thing is thinking in the different way. Is our primary thing is questioning ourselves is also one of the key point. So this is all about what the primary key points regarding the science. Next, why science is. Let us see why science is. Why science? Suppose if we want to see the individual perspective, why science is? The science is especially for to find out the greatest joy in previously unknown facts. See, science is for to find out the unknown facts, to reveal the unknown facts. Sometimes some things can be found, but that might have been some wrong. Scientists sincerely they work or they research to find out the new things or to disprove the old ones. Okay, to find out the what previously unknown facts. Their life is completely sacrificed to reveal the unknown facts. They search their happiness, they search their desire, they search their desireness, or they search their happiness in the researching to find out the previously unknown facts. Their life is becoming famous due to this action. They are going to become famous in the world. Suppose if you want to say about some one particular action, like suppose example, if who invented the computer, if I ask that question, everybody will say that Charles Babbage. So he has remained in the world. Why? Because he has sacrificed his life to find out the one invention. So whenever we talk about that invention, we remember that person, so that that person has remained in the world forever and ever and ever. So that who invented the bulb? So the bulb is invented by Thomas Alva Edison. So he has remained in the world forever and ever. So every day when we see about the bulb, we remember about that person. So like that, some of the scientists, they sacrificed their life to find out the new things into the world, and also they find out the greatest joy in the previously unknown facts. This is about individual perspective of the science. Whereas social perspective, why science? Social perspective. Social perspective, if you can see, to improve the shortcut, in short and sweet, if you can see, to improve the life of people. To improve the life of people. Suppose example, the government and the society they are supplying the so many things to the scientists to do the research. Why? To improve their life. Suppose example, a biologist can say the diseases, how these diseases can caused from one person to another, how these diseases can be spreaded. Suppose a genetics person can say that how characters can be transferred from one generation to another. Whereas a meteorological department scientists, they will say that how the cyclones occurs, how the rain occurs, when the rain occurs, and when earthquake occurs, when tsunami is going to get the chance. So like this, society, scientists, they sacrifice their life to society to improve their life in a easier way. That is about social perspective. And next one, the science and change. Third one is science and change. So science is not constant. Science is always changing. Science is a dynamic. If we can say that science is dynamic, it never be constant. So here science changes. Science is not constant. Suppose example here, according to the Karl Popper, he is one of the scientists. According to the Karl Popper, science is a history of corrected mistakes. Very very most important bit. See, science is a history of Karl Popper. Science is a history of corrected mistakes. See, science is a history of corrected mistakes. It's a history of corrected mistakes. He says about the history of corrected mistakes. Generally, history never changes, but yeah, science can change. It is a history of corrected. Every day it is a chance, there is a chance for correcting the mistakes, so that we can understand science is dynamic, science will change. Next, Albert Einstein. According to the Albert Einstein, his definition is every year whatever I write, next year that will be changed. I retract the whatever I write. This, suppose if this year if I write anything, there might be a chance for correction for the next year. So Albert Einstein, he says that I retract everything whatever I wrote year before. According to him, every year I retract whatever I wrote year before. That is about Albert Einstein. So that he will change whatever he wrote, there might be a chance of changing, so that every day he can find out the new things in the science, so that science is never constant. So this is what about the science and change. And next one is scientific method. In the scientific method here, there are some steps. Okay, so there are 5 steps in the scientific method. One is observing and asking question. Okay, and making hypothesis, plan for an experiment, conduct for an experiment. Okay, and draw the conclusion and communicate the results. These are the 5 steps. What? Observing and asking question, making hypothesis, plan for an experiment, conduct an experiment, draw the conclusion and communicate the result. In these 5 steps we can see, suppose if you go through these steps, if you want to find out an answer for a question in a organized method. Scientific method means, what is the scientific method? The scientist who follows an organized method is called scientific method. Scientists who follow an organized method to find out an answer for a question is called scientific method. In the scientific method, here we have the 5 different steps, like observing and asking question, making hypothesis, plan for an experiment, conduct an experiment, and also draw the conclusion and find out the result. Suppose if you want to find out an answer for this question, so here I am asking a question, which soil is best for planting the bean seeds? Here we have a question, which soil is best for planting the bean seeds? If you find out an answer for this question, we must go through these 5 steps. Observe and ask questions by yourself, make a hypothesis, plan for an experiment, conduct an experiment, okay, draw the conclusion. Suppose observe, first step is observe and asking question. So first you observe which soil is best. So how many soils are there? We have red soil, black soil, clay soil, sandy soil. So like that we have different types of soil. So observe, then ask questions yourself, which soil is best for this? You can ask question for yourself. Next, after this, make a hypothesis. What is an hypothesis? Hypothesis means here an imaginary answer to be tested, or an expected answer to be tested. Suppose we have 4 types of soils we discussed now. Red soil, black soil, sandy soil, clay soil. These are the 4 types of soils. Then which soil is best? Before doing the experiment, you can have an expected answer. Suppose I think so that clay soil is best for planting the bean seeds. Just this is an hypothesis. This hypothesis might be true or may not be true. Just this is an hypothesis. Then if you want to know the correct answer, we must go through the experiment. Next, third step is plan for an experiment. So plan for an experiment means we can collect the 3 pots and conduct the experiment. So collect the 3 or 4 different types of soils and plant the seeds. Then seeds can germinate and they can grow. Then every day you can measure it, in which soil the plant is growing faster. Then finally draw the conclusion. We can see that the sandy soil and red soil is best for planting the bean seeds. The final answer is sandy soil and red soil is best for planting the bean seeds. Our imaginary answer is just clay soil is best, but here clay soil is not good. Sandy soil and red soil is best for planting the bean seeds. So like this, if we go through the experiment, then we can find out the answer through the scientific method. So that is what about scientific method. steps and to find out the answer in a organized manner. Next coming to the science process skills. Science process skills are, there are many science process skills are there. Observe, compare, classify. So observe, compare, classify, these are the different types of. In science processing skills, in regarding the activity, the science processing skills will be changed based on the regarding activity. Suppose example, Charit, he went to the sea shore and he collected some shells. Based on the shells, he will observe. Size, he will compare based on the size and shape and classify, like that. First he will observe with his senses. Suppose one of the person, Charity is one of the person, he went to the near the seashore and he collected some shells. Okay, when he collected some shells, first he observed with his senses, which is red in color, which is white in color, which is something other in color. Whereas compare, which is smaller, which is bigger. Whereas classify, which is based on the size and shape, he will classify into separate groups. So like this, based on the activity, the science processing skills will be changed. And last one is safety in science. Before we are going into the lab, we must know some tips and precautions in the science. So think ahead before going to do the activity. Think ahead what we are going to do. Okay, next, should not eat anything in the science lab. Suppose if the girls, if they have any long hair, they should tie it into in a particular way, so that the science activity, lab activity should not be disturbed. And do not eat anything in the lab. Suppose if there is anything broken in the lab, then you just inform to the teacher. Okay, then keep the environment, that science lab environment should be clean and tidy. So like this, we can understand what is science and what is science lesson. Very easy lesson. So don't afraid about this lesson. Some of the teachers, they discussed with me, this first lesson 8th class is very difficult to but if you study clearly, very easy to understand.